Hey guys, Marissa here. I wanted to jump on right at the beginning really quick before we even get into this episode and let you know that you're gonna want to wait and listen to the whole thing, because at the very end of this podcast, I'm sharing a really exciting resource that we have made over here at Family of Dashes for the holiday season. So if you're listening to this and the holiday season is approaching, and by that I mean Christmas time, you're gonna want to listen to the whole thing. One, to get just some good ideas for creating and having good holiday memories as a family all year. But at the end, I'm gonna share a resource and how to get it specifically for the Christmas holiday season. And I'm really excited about this. I truly believe it's going to be helpful and exciting for families all around the world, and I don't want you to miss out. So make sure you listen to the very end. Hey there, and welcome to the Digital Nomad Family Podcast. This is the place where families who have or want to have a nomadic lifestyle come together to talk about the highs and lows that this life brings. We celebrate the joys and support each other in the hard. So, if you are a digital nomad family, or will be in the future, this is the place for you. We're glad you're here. Hey everyone, Marissa here from Family of Dashes, and thank you so much for listening to another Digital Nomad Family podcast. I'm really glad that you are choosing to listen to this, so thank you very much. I want to start off this episode on a very, very high part, which doesn't bode well for me because, let's be honest, people, I'm not like the best at this. I really love doing this podcast, but when I go out there and I listen to like the other podcast people that actually know what they're doing, I'm like, oh, not doing that so right, not doing that so right, could do better there. But we're going to ignore all of that for just a hot minute because I have a beautiful review that I want to read to you guys. And I don't want anyone for a second to think that the fact that you are choosing to push play and listen to what I have to say, just my one woman here. I'm currently sitting on a not very comfortable bed in Santa Rosa, Lima, Peru. The fact that you are choosing to listen to what I have to say for a few minutes, that's amazing to me. Like, that is a huge honor. And I hope that you guys are connecting with the stuff that I say and the way I do it and everything like that. So when you reach out to me, it honestly touches my heart. And so I just want to say thank you to those of you who have. And if you haven't, I would love it if you did, because that way I know if you're enjoying the podcast, the style, the topics, all that stuff. So I want to read a review that I got on iTunes from a woman named Santorina Davis. And thank you so much for this beautiful review. So here is what she says. I recently found Marissa's podcast, and for a family who is gearing up to travel nomadically full-time, it's proven to be such a gem. The topics are not only helpful, but super accessible. I really enjoy her laid-back hosting style while still bringing me useful information. This is my new fave thing to listen to when I'm in the car. Thanks so much for putting together this awesome show. I'm just speechless, which isn't good for a host of an audio show, right? Like, you shouldn't be speechless. When I read this, I was, no exaggeration here, dancing in my kitchen. Eric, my husband, has some friends that live in the States, and they're all business people. Like, they are all very, very business minded. They talk email marketing strategies and like ad campaigns. They do all the things, right? Like, that's these guys. And they have a Marco Polo chain that they are constantly talking to each other. And he comes down and he's like, you have to tell the guys. And so like he shared this, me reading this review to his like mastermind people that they're not podcasters or anything, but they just wanted to celebrate. And he's like, this is just so exciting. I'm so excited for you. And I think that this review just sums up what I want you guys to feel. I want it to be helpful, super accessible. I want this to be real life stuff. And I'm very laid back. I'm an extraordinarily go with the flow, just casual person. And I'm glad that comes out in my hosting style. Like I was honestly worried about that at the start. And to hear that someone feels like that they like that about it, that makes me really, really happy. So thank you. So if you have anything that you want me to share, if you leave a review, I'll read it. Santorina, she did leave a 5-star review. So thank you so much for that. I will always take a 5-star review, but don't feel like you have to leave a 5-star. This is the laid back part. See, the smart podcasters would go, I'm only going to read the 5-star reviews. I'm sure we've all heard that, right? You leave a 5-star review, I'll read it on the podcast. I'll read it if you even leave a 1-star. Like, go for it. If I need to work on something, please let me know. I would rather you tell me what needs to be worked on so I can fix it so that you keep listening versus you get annoyed with something and then you just stop listening altogether and you don't hear how did she say it here? Super helpful, accessible topics. So yeah. So thank you so much, Santorina. It was beautiful. It made my day. I danced in my kitchen and a bunch of guys in a mastermind laughed at me a little bit, but no, they're really good guys. So yeah, with that being said, I'm not going to say it. You guys know what I want to say. You guys know if you've been listening at all, this is your first one. You're like, what do you want to say, Marissa? But I'm not going to say that I'm really excited about today's episode. I'm not. But I am going to say right now, it is November 1st, 2022. Now, the wonderful things about podcasts and blogs and vlogs and all this stuff that we put out into the interwebs is it's evergreen, meaning like imagine a Christmas tree. It's an evergreen tree, right? It's always there. It always has needles. Well, this content is evergreen, meaning it's always going to be there. So right now, if you're listening, we are headed into the holiday season. But if you listen to this in 6 months, we will not be. So we right now, as at the start of November, in all of our minds as Americans, there's 2 main holidays, right? Thanksgiving and Christmas. Those are the holidays that we are gearing up for right now. And I want to spend some time really focusing on how can we as full-time traveling families, as nomads, as world citizens, however you want to say it, how can we keep and create holiday traditions while we are living this traveling lifestyle? Because when it was just me and Eric, we didn't put a lot of focus on tradition. Maybe you did. Maybe when it was just you and your husband or your wife, or even you alone, you really focused on what do I want my holiday traditions to be. I didn't do that. The pressure, if you will, I don't like that word, but like the desire, I don't know what I'm trying to say, people. That feeling didn't come until after Riley was born, and then Ryan was born, and then Martin and Stoyanka came into the family. And then it's like, wow, we need these holiday traditions because this is, I don't know, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to create these moments that they're going to hold on to for the rest of their lives. And please don't hear me and think that I'm being cynical or think that that's a bad thing. I think it's a beautiful thing. I have a very, very strong tradition in me. My mom 1 year, I think she might have done it 2 years, but all it took was 1 year for her to do this. She, at Christmas time, wrapped our bedroom doors in wrapping paper. And it was magical for me. I just thought it was the most beautiful thing in the world to have these wrapped doors. And it took 1 year for her to do that. Like I said, she might have done it 2 years, maybe. But when we were in America, that's what I did. Like as soon as my kids got old enough to really like start connecting the dots that, hey, it's Christmas time, I started wrapping doors. And I took it to like an unhealthy level where like I would take the doorknobs off. Like my mom just kind of cut a little hole and just poked it through, right? I was like removing hardware. It was a multiple day project. I would make bows, like really big bows to put on the doors. It was a lot, but it was important to me because I wanted my kids to connect that magical feeling that I had as a little girl. And like, I wanted them to experience that. And so I did it. Well, we are going to be moving around at Christmas time. You better believe I'm not wrapping doors. One, I'm not going to spend the time doing it. Two, it's not my doors because we're traveling. And I don't want to spend the money on wrapping paper at every single new city we're in during the holiday season. I'm just not going to do it. But does that mean that I can't have any holiday magic? No. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And not just Christmas, but we're going to kind of start at the beginning of the year and kind of go around and just talk about holidays and creating and keeping holiday traditions, even as a nomadic family. So let's start at the beginning of the year. Let's start with New Year's. Well, this one, I think, can be a lot of fun. One, you can just totally embrace the culture that you're in, the time zone you're in, try to get to like a New Year's Eve party or something. Or you can always just celebrate it at the same time as your loved ones. So let's say you happen to be in, New Zealand, okay? And your family is in California. You're allowed to count down at the same time as them. Like there's nothing wrong with waiting on your celebration, waiting to, put on the party hats and everything and have the fun and all that jazz until your family celebrates it. You can Zoom call, you can FaceTime, whatever you want to do. But also don't be afraid for this one, I think, especially to really embrace the place you're in and maybe go try to find something. I also think that New Year's can be a really fun time to just kind of play with maybe making new family traditions, or like family, like holiday memories. I think it often gets overlooked as like Christmas's, like awkward twin, or I don't know what to say. Like just, I don't want to say that, but I don't know. It's just, it oftentimes gets overlooked as like the adult, like Christmas is the kids and New Year's is the adult, or like I don't know. But I think it can be a really fun time to go on New Year's. We always like did this. We always ate this food, or we always played this game, or just whatever, and kind of use that because it doesn't necessarily have any hard and fast rules, right? Like so many holidays have a lot of, I'm doing air quotes here, people, rules. And New Year's doesn't really have those. So you get to make it whatever you want it to be. And I think that can be a lot of fun. Like, I love this idea of we are given you can either do it on New Year's Day, you can do it the night leading into New Year's. You get to pick. It's like we have this wonderful creative canvas that we get to choose how our family is going to come into the new year. And I love that. That's so fun. I think don't be afraid to play around with that holiday. Make it what your family wants it to be. So that's my advice for New Year's. And the next, we're going to skip like small holidays, if you will, but don't be afraid to celebrate them. If you always celebrated St. Patrick's Day, celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Even if you're in a culture that doesn't celebrate it, you can still celebrate it. You can go find something green to wear. You can do silly leprechaun pranks throughout the house. You can make green food. Like you can still do that stuff. Even like my family doesn't do that, but I think it's super fun if you do. So we're going to skip a lot of what I would consider like smaller holidays, but please don't be offended by that. That's not me saying that they're not important. They're just saying, I don't want to talk about holidays for 3 hours. So we're just going to hit the major ones. So after New Year's, I would say it's Easter. And whether you celebrate Christian Easter or whether you celebrate Orthodox Easter, I think they're very, very similar. My family is a Christian family, and so we celebrate when like the American church celebrates Easter, and we celebrate it in a holy way, but we still have fun with Easter eggs and the Easter bunny and gifts and that kind of stuff. And I think for Easter, if you are in a country where the church really celebrates it, I would encourage you to try to get to maybe some of the services and that kind of stuff and just see how they celebrate it. Orthodox Easter, it's very similar but very different at the same time than, I don't know what it's called, non-Orthodox Easter. I really should have Googled that, right? But I don't know what it is. But they have a lot of similarities, but they also are different, and they have some different traditions with them. And so learning some of the differences and celebrating it, a lot of countries have really beautiful Orthodox Easter traditions. And then at the same time, as far as your family goes, I think this one's okay if you are American, and this is a lot of countries in the world, but since I'm American, I don't want to just paint over other countries, and I don't want to pretend that I fully understand their cultures either. And so I'll just speak from my viewpoint. In America, Easter isn't necessarily anymore seen as a Christian holiday. It's just seen as a springtime celebration. And with that comes things like gift giving, chocolate, Easter eggs, and fun stuff like that. So even if you're not Christian, but you celebrated Easter in America, you can still keep those celebrations going. Thankfully, eggs are something I have found in every single country I've ever been to in my life. I have never once had trouble getting eggs. And so being able to color eggs would be a pretty safe bet that you can do in any country. You might have to adjust how you do it if you can't find food coloring to do the traditional dipping the eggs in the different colors. You can just get some crayons or some markers and color the eggs. And if you can't find plastic eggs to like do an egg hunt, then you can still get your kids some chocolate, some little gifts to celebrate the holiday. And I think that Easter is a really great opportunity for, in our family at least, this is how we kind of handle Easter. We keep it a little more traditional. Since our kids have kind of said goodbye to a lot of the other holidays that we don't celebrate, try to keep Easter one that is a little more, I don't know, what they're used to. And so that's my suggestion for Easter. But again, don't be afraid to change it up. There's no hard and fast rules. And then as we kind of move on the calendar, in America, the big holiday that would kind of be next is 4th of July. I'm going to level with you people. 4th of July was not a major holiday in my house. It wasn't a big holiday growing up. It wasn't a big holiday in Eric's house growing up. And it just wasn't a big thing until we moved to Norfolk, Virginia. And if you don't know Norfolk, it is a military town. And you best believe people celebrate 4th of July there. And we never got like knee deep in it like other people did, but we started definitely celebrating it a little bit more. And as the kids got older, when Ryan was little, he had major anxiety with fireworks. And so the idea of going and watching a fireworks show was very out of the question. We went one year when we were in Norfolk to the beach, like to the Chesapeake Bay, because we lived just a mile down from the bay. And so we went to the bay on 4th of July, and everyone just does homemade, like just home fireworks and stuff out on the beach. And then you can see downtown Norfolk. From there, you can see the firework display from the beach. And so you just walk home. Super convenient. And I remember we were there, and people started to do their like store-bought fireworks, and Ryan was not happy. So as he got older, we started doing more and more, but it just, 4th of July wasn't a huge thing in our house, but I do think that there are still some fun things that you can do for 4th of July if it was a bigger holiday for you. And I think some of the stuff is using it as a way to learn about American Independence Day and what independence truly means, and then comparing that to the country that you're in at the moment. What are similarities that America and the country you're in right now have? And use it as just a time to really dive in. And that might not sound very exciting, but I think you can. Are there any fun museums that you can go to about the country you're in right now? Kind of use it as just a fun time to learn about the government structure of the country you're in. And then little things like if there's any like special food that you want to make. In our family, food has a very deep connection, and I don't think we're the only ones here. Food has a very deep connection to a holiday. And so when I think 4th of July, I think two things: hot dogs, which I think that's a lot of people. I think hot dogs, and I think my grandma's macaroni salad. And I love to have my grandma's macaroni salad on Independence Day. And actually, when we were here in Peru, we were able to celebrate the Peruvian Independence Day, and I made macaroni salad for our barbecue that we had because it just felt so normal to have Gigi's macaroni salad on Independence Day. So even though it wasn't American Independence Day, it was still a deep connection, and I think food has that power. So even if it's food that you make in America during the summertime, like s'mores or iced tea or lemonade, something like that, as just a special way to bring in your passport countries some of the yummy food that you had there and stuff that makes you feel home. I think 4th of July can be a great holiday for that. And then I would say the next major holiday is Thanksgiving. Again, we're gonna skip Halloween. Sorry, I misspoke. We're gonna go Halloween. It just happened. How did I forget it? This is the casual Marissa. Halloween is the next one. And in America, for my family, Halloween was huge. We lived in the neighborhood for trick-or-treating. The amount of candy the kids got was sinful. And our neighbor, we always had a campfire. And we would cook hot dogs, and we'd have a pot roast, and we'd just sit around and have some beers, and the kids would just play. It was just my favorite holiday in that neighborhood. And it was very, very heavy on the community side. And I think that's what I miss most about Halloween. Not the candy, not the kids dressing up. I'm not even like a big scary movie person. I like a really good psychological thriller. Think like The Village, Hide and Seek, that kind of stuff. I love that. I don't like gory. You're not going to catch me watching Saw. Like, no, don't like it. But so I never really got into that side of Halloween, but the community side was very, very strong for us. And I think that it's really hard to find that in traveling. As much as we do try to find people in the country that we're in the city that we're in at this time, it's not the same as the people that you lived across the street from for 6 years, and you know which house to go to that has the good candy. Okay, we're gonna go over to Carol's house, and then we're gonna go over to Miss Coralie's house, and it's not the same. And I don't want to pretend that it is. I don't want to set you unintentionally up for this idea that you're going to get into this community while you're traveling and it's going to be exactly the same as the neighborhood you had back in your passport country, because it's not. It's still beautiful. It's just different. And so for us, Halloween this year, and it actually just happened. Like I said, I'm recording this November 1st. So literally last night was Halloween. We tried to think ahead a little bit with Halloween. Ryan is 10 right now. And so in America, he would still very much be in the dressing up and trick-or-treating category. And then Riley's 12. So in our city, 12 is the last year you can trick-or-treat. So this would have been Riley's last year trick-or-treating. But even Riley has shifted more so. She just wants to hang out with her friends and walk around, be with her friends, and then just like hang out at their house or something. And that's fine. And so we thought ahead and we told Ryan to pack a costume, which we didn't have to twist his arm about. Ryan loves dressing up in costumes. And so he had a costume here to wear, and he helped us pass out some candy. And we didn't have too many trick-or-treaters at all. I think we had 5, maybe. I'd have to ask him for sure, but we had about 5 people come past the house. And some of them weren't necessarily trick-or-treaters. They were just walking past, and Ryan wanted them to have candy. And they were very nice and took some candy. And so for us, it was just trying to be together, letting the kids have a say in the dinner we had, letting Ryan wear his costume, and then we watched Hocus Pocus 1 and 2. And let the kids stay up a little bit later. And just that, like just letting them know like, hey, we're together. And for us, that was really, I think, important because all of us said at one point or another during the day, like, oh, if we were in America, we would be here. And it always was connected to another person. It wasn't a place. It wasn't like, oh, we'd be trick-or-treating or, oh, we'd be at this haunted house. Like, no, it wasn't that. It was the person or people that we would have been with. And so Halloween for us in America was very community-based. And so just trying to make sure that the kids knew that they weren't alone, that we were, here together as a family, and also just allowing them to like remember those things and talk about them. I think sometimes as parents, we get so nervous that our kids are gonna not like this lifestyle or like come to resent it, or even, God forbid, look us in the face and say, I don't wanna do this anymore, right? Like we all have those concerns. We're like, oh, what are we gonna do? Sometimes we are so nervous about that we don't give them the space to talk about the feelings that they're having. And it's not intentional, right? It's not like we're trying to make them feel better. We're trying to shove this lifestyle onto them. We just know that this lifestyle has a lot of benefits, and we want them to focus on the benefits, not the moments that maybe they're a little homesick. But allowing them, I think, to express oh man, if we were in America, we'd be at Miss Corley's right now. Like, yeah, we would be. Like, and I'm a little sad that we're not too. I'm not upset that we're here. I'm just sad that I'm not there. And that can be really hard for kids to understand, that you can be sad you're not in another place, but still happy you are where you are. It's hard for me to understand sometimes. And so I think Halloween can just be a really good time to connect with your kids and focus on the community you have as a family. And then that leads us to Thanksgiving. Okay. Thanksgiving is the hardest holiday for me to talk about because we were not a huge Thanksgiving family anyways. We would travel for Thanksgiving, usually on a camping trip. I can't say usually. We had started this tradition in America, and then we decided to become full-time nomads. And so we did that a couple times, with all the intentions that this would be all of our Thanksgivings moving forward, but then we became full-time travelers. So now we're just traveling for Thanksgiving anyways. We're just not camping. But I was not like the cook a huge meal type person. And so what I like to do and what we're planning, this is our first Thanksgiving. This one coming up in 4 weeks will be our first Thanksgiving in a new country. And personally, I'm really excited about it because the plan is for us to use it as an opportunity to invite a lot of people to our house and have a meal. And I want it to be kind of a combo meal between foods I've learned how to make here and American foods, and just allow people to make connections with each other that they wouldn't have made if we didn't bring them together and say, oh, like here's so-and-so, I met them at this place, and here's so-and-so, I met them here. I think you two would really get along. I'm really excited to have the opportunity to introduce some of my Peruvian friends to each other. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And just since we're going to be leaving soon, it happens to fall just days before we leave here. And so we're also going to use it as our goodbye, because I do think it's really important to end a season well. I talk about that in my podcast about leaving your passport country well. I think ending a season is very important. And so we're going to use this Thanksgiving as a way to say goodbye. If you are in a place and you're able, like you've made connections and you're able to have people over for Thanksgiving, I think it can be a great time to just introduce your culture to another culture, because that is the reason we travel, right? To introduce our culture to people and to learn about other cultures. And so if you have a group of people that you can make, it doesn't even have to be the traditional Thanksgiving meal. Like, don't have that in your head. You're making food and you're bringing people together over a meal. That's a beautifully strong thing. And we don't want to underestimate the power that a good meal has on a group of people, right? And so that's my suggestion for Thanksgiving. I think it can be a lot of fun, and use it to introduce some of your favorite foods, maybe a movie that you really like. You can show a part of the movie to your friends. You can have some American music. I think it can be a lot of fun to just introduce your culture to the country that you're in and the friends that you've made there, because it is an American holiday. And so you're not going to be in a place and them go, oh, like unless you're in Canada, right? There's Canadian Thanksgiving. But like, you're not going to be in Germany and them say, oh, come to my house for Thanksgiving. It's not going to happen. They don't have Thanksgiving. But you can be in Germany and say, hey, German friends, we're going to celebrate Thanksgiving because it's an American holiday, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So since you've been in their culture, learning about them, kind of reverse the roles a little bit and give them an opportunity to ask you some questions. It can be a really good time. And then this finally leads us into Christmas. And Christmas, I feel like if there's like the important holiday, right? It's Christmas. Like, I feel like so many times Christmas gets this, it's like the crown jewel of holidays, which is totally fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with having that. I think kids have that idea, like, right, it's Christmas. Christmas is the holiday that they're waiting for. One, they get time off school, which that wins, right? You get next to summer break, you get the longest school break you're going to have of the school year during this holiday. And you get gifts. Like, come on, as a kid, this rocks. So before I give you some ideas for Christmas, I just want to let you guys know we haven't yet, at least, celebrated Christmas away from family. We are with family for Christmas. Even if it's not Christmas Day, we have done Christmas like Eve and Christmas Day without immediate family present, but then we get to them as soon as we can. And so even when we travel internationally, we time it around Christmas. So when we left for Istanbul, we actually left on December 31st. And then we're going to go back to America so we can be there for Christmas, and then we'll leave after Christmas for like now in our lives. So if you are like us and you get back to wherever your people are for Christmas, that's great. I totally understand that. I don't think you have to do that. Please don't hear me say that that's how you should do it. I don't. Trust me. And when we head over to Asia, our families know we probably won't make it back for that, at least that Christmas. So we'll wait and probably we'll leave to head over to like Southeast Asia very soon after Christmas ends, but then we'll be over like in Asia and then Africa. And we're not going to be able to get back to America in 12 months. Like that's just, it's too much. It's too expensive for 6 people to do that. But other than that, we get back to America for Christmas. And so if that's what you do, awesome. You know what you're doing. You don't have to figure anything out. There's no traditions you're trying to create. You're just going to go back and have them. That's a beautiful thing. Nothing wrong with that. If you're traveling for the holidays, I think Christmas can be a tricky one for a lot of reasons. One, if you grew up in the Northern Hemisphere, you're used to a cold Christmas. Well, what if you're now south of the equator and Christmas is in the summertime? Like that in and of itself is just weird, right? It feels wrong. Let's reverse it. When I had a really great friend from Australia, she got married and moved to America. She had to get used to a cold, and she was in Ohio, and like this was back when we used to get snow, before like the earth got not as predictable with the snow in December in Ohio. And she had to get used to that. Like they would go to the beach on Christmas Day. Like that was what you would do in Australia where she lived. Well, there's no going to the beach in Ohio in December. Not going to happen. Unless you want to go like ice fishing or ice skating. Like you're not going to go down to a lake or something and just hang out by the water. And so if you're in a different part of a different hemisphere, you got to get used to that. So there's that. If you're traveling, it's like, what do we do for presents? Are you getting a Christmas tree? There's just all these questions, right? My biggest piece of advice for you is talk to your family about it. And by family, I mean like your immediate family, your kids. If you are the mom or the dad of a nomadic family and you're listening to this right now, I promise you it's going to be better to talk to your kids about it and hear, like, I don't want to say hear their sadness, but hear what they have to say. And maybe there is going to be some sadness there. Like maybe they are sad that if you can't get a Christmas tree this year, maybe they are sad about that. But I promise you, letting them voice their opinions and their concerns is going to be better, because then they're going to know, hey, mom and dad are a safe person that I can talk to about this. They're not going to get mad at me. They're just going to hear what I have to say. And when you hear their concerns, I think you can address them. I think there's a lot of creative ways to do a Christmas tree. Why not go ahead and look for some green construction paper or just regular paper and some green markers and make your own Christmas tree up on the wall. Get some tape some paper up there. Everyone can make their own decorations. It's totally fine. Is it a normal Christmas tree? No. But guess what? It's showing your kids, hey, I hear that you want a Christmas tree. How can I make this dream come true? So let's get some paper. Let's color one. We got 12 pieces of paper up here that we cut into the shape of a tree, and it's awesome. It's wonderful. I also think whatever their concern is, whatever their fear is, whatever their sadness is, I think that there is a way that we can address it. Now, maybe it can't be answered exactly. If they look at you and they say, I really want to be with grandma and grandpa at Christmas, and that's just not going to happen, then that's a bummer. Like that's really, really hard. But that doesn't mean that they can't see them on Christmas. You can FaceTime, you can Skype, you can Zoom, whatever video call app you are into. You can find a way. And is it the same? No. But at least your kids see that you are trying to hear them and that they can voice their concerns to you. And then at the same time, I do think that there are really fun ways that you can create holiday traditions in this Christmas season. And with that being said, I'm very excited to tell you about a resource that we have made here over at Family of Dashes that you can get, and it's just for Christmas time, just for this holiday season. And the whole thing, we're calling it the Digital Nomad Holiday Guide. It's the Digital Nomad Family Holiday Guide. And we are really excited to show you guys this and to have you be able to get it. And the whole point of it is for you to be able to make memories and create some holiday cheer in your house with your kids. And so if you go over to www.familyofdashes.com, or if you go down to the show notes, there'll be a direct link where you can get the guide. you'll see a way that you can sign up to get the Nomadic Family Holiday Guide from our website. And in this guide, it's going to have 4 things. It's going to have a family game that you can play as a family. And it's not going to take a lot of stuff, okay? We're not telling you, oh, go buy this game, go do this thing. It's going to be stuff that you either have at your house already, or you need like some little candies, like Skittles or something, or even popcorn, or just like small little things like that. So there's really, really, really simple game ideas. There's a family movie suggestion, and all of the families are available to rent or buy on Amazon. And so that way you don't have to worry about how am I going to get this movie. Just get it off Amazon. Not a big deal. And then 2 recipes. And the reason we've given you 2 recipes is because we understand that not all countries have the same ingredients. And so being able to make it what you need it to be and pick the recipes that you can make, you want to make, all that fun stuff. And then an act of kindness. And the reason we wanted to put an act of kindness in there is because we shouldn't just keep the holiday spirit, but like for us, right? We want to spread it around. So we gave you an act of kindness suggestion as well. And for 3 weeks, you will get this stuff. So, starting December 4th is week 1. Starting December 11th is week 2. And December 18th starts week 3. So each week you'll have a game you can play, 2 recipes. You can make whatever you want to make both, make none, whatever you want to do. A random act of kindness, and then a movie suggestion to watch. And also to go along with the movie, we have a conversation guide that you can connect that movie to topics with your kids and just some questions to ask, and just some conversation ideas, because I just truly believe that connecting with our kids in deep and meaningful ways, that's what matters, right? It's these moments of, hey, we're going to watch this movie together. And then you don't have to immediately turn the movie off and start having a conversation about it. It can be the next day at lunch. You can go, hey guys, remember in that movie when this happened? What did you think about that? Do you understand how that connects to this in real life? Ooh, that can be cool, right? And then it's not just a movie night. Now it's, hey, I'm communicating with my kids about real life topics. And that's important. And so each week you'll get these things. And also each week has a theme. So week 1's theme is love. So everything has to do with love. Week 2 is joy. And then week 3 is peace. And I am really excited about this guide because I've put a lot of love and time into it. And I think the reason that the Christmas holiday season is so special is because as adults, we tend to be more, just more open to the magic of the season in a way. And I think our kids respond to that. And I think our kids know that. And as adults, we're more willing to play the game or watch the movie or make the cookies or get in and bake or whatever it is, right? We just have a more willing attitude because of the holiday season. And so capitalize on that. Make it a true time where you can say, okay, I'm already in the mood to do these things. And this guide is going to give me the very, 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 very easy blueprint how to do it. So I would love it if you guys would go over to familyofdashes.com and sign up to get the Nomadic Family Holiday Guide when it releases. And you'll have a supply list for what to get for each week. And I really think that this is going to be a powerful resource for this holiday season if you are not able to be in your passport country. Because I think that our kids, when they see that we're making an effort as adults, then they're going to be willing to put that effort in too. When they see hey, my mom and my dad, they want to make this a memorable time, they're more receptive to it and they're more open to it. So I really, truly believe that this guide can help you do that if you're going to be on the road this Christmas. So like I said, in the show notes is the link, and I would really appreciate it if you checked it out. And that gets us back to the beginning, guys. We've gone full circle. I think the most important thing about holidays, and this just comes back to anything, I think, is open communication. If your kids feel one way about a holiday, if it's a very important holiday to them, then let them voice that. If they have opinions about holidays, let them voice that. And I just think that can be a powerful thing. I know that these are, like I said, mostly American holidays, but that's my, that's my worldview. If you're in another country and there are holidays within that culture, that's a wonderful opportunity to learn about that nation's holiday or the way that they celebrate a holiday that you might celebrate, but they celebrate it in a different way. So that's kind of its own podcast episode, is embracing the culture you're in, right? Kind of a different topic. So don't think that I didn't think about the holidays of the countries you're in. It's just I feel like it's a little bit different. This is all about if you've transitioned to a full-time traveling family, and you have like older kids that are going to remember how you celebrated a holiday in your passport country, how can you keep that going? And like I said, I think communication is definitely important. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye, but I really hope that you guys head over and sign up to get the Nomadic Family Holiday Guide. I truly believe it's going to be helpful. I've had some people preview it and they had wonderfully nice things to say about it. And they're excited about it already. And I think it can be a really powerful thing to help your family this holiday season. So I hope that you guys are all doing well. I hope you are having great experiences as a family. And I hope that you continue to travel joyfully.